Mini scuba tanks. Are they safe? Should you buy one? And how do they perform once you're underwater? We've been testing the 1 and 2 liter SMACO mini tanks, and I've got some thoughts. Some good, some bad, and some that could save you from making a mistake that could put you in real danger. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Generations Below. We're a father-son dive team. We're not instructors, we're not pros, just everyday divers sharing tips, tricks, and gear reviews. First off, and I need to be really clear about this, these things are not toys. They're not for pool parties. They're not for your uncertified kid to mess around with on vacation. If you're not scuba certified, do not buy one of these. And even if you are certified, you should never go below 30 feet with one of these tanks, and you absolutely need an alternate air source. Full stop. We've had people ask us before if they should buy some of these little mini tanks to see if they like scuba or to see if they could get used to scuba. That's a hard no for me. This isn't a training device and it's not a toy. If you were to run out of air on these, which is likely, and you don't know how to get back to the surface the right way, you're looking at a very real chance of an overexpansion injury. That's lung damage, that's serious, and I see this as a very likely scenario for an uncertified diver. So before I get into what these tanks can do, I want to be crystal clear about what they can't. This is not for recreational play. This is for certified divers who understand their limits, the risk, watch their depth, and dive smart. So here's how we use them. I dive the 2 liter SMACO, Gunner uses the 1, and we've actually gotten a surprising amount of use out of them. When I use the 2 liter tank, I'm getting roughly 20 minutes of bottom time. That's with very little exertion and mostly stationary or maybe cruising around on the DPV, and it's always within 25 feet. The 1 liter tank gives us about 8.5 minutes under the same conditions, still controlled, still super shallow, so take that for what it's worth. If you're finning around or trying to swim hard, those numbers are gonna drop really quick. They're only good for short, shallow bursts, but sometimes that's exactly what you need. If we miss a shot or we realize that we need to go back and grab another angle, we can just pop in super quick, get it done, and get out. We used them just this past weekend in the Guadalupe River in Texas for a little river cleanup, and I didn't haul my full scuba tanks down to the river. I had my mini tanks, I had the Heap 1 compressor, and we were able to dive, clean up the river, but it only works because we treat them like mission tools, not replacements for real tanks. Now let's talk about what these come with and what you're gonna wanna change as soon as you get them. The stock second stage on these things are not great at all. We replaced both of ours with Dive Ride XT2s, the same regs that we trust as our Octos on our full kits. And the stock hoses are super stiff and they cause alignment issues, so you're gonna wanna upgrade those too. We switched over to the XS Scuba MyFlex hoses, just like the ones that we use on our standard rigs. Then there's the fill method. You're gonna see advertisements and people on YouTube claiming that you can fill these things up with a specialized bicycle style hand pump. I'm not even gonna demonstrate it, but there are videos out there. I'm telling you right now, it would take thousands of pumps and you'd be drenched in sweat and out of breath before you even hit 1500 PSI. Don't even bother. That leaves you with 2 real options. You could fill it off of your standard scuba tank with the exchange block that you can get from SMACO, but this is gonna waste the gas in those tanks, and that's gonna mean that you're still gonna have to take your regular scuba tanks with you, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of having these small mini tanks anyway. Or you can get the Heap 1 portable compressor, which is what we use. I'm gonna review that one in the next video, so we're gonna leave that out for now. One thing I have been thinking about, but I haven't fully tested this yet, is whether the 2 liter tank, the bigger of them, would work as a true backup pony bottle when I'm diving with my full kit and my aluminum 80. At 2 liters, it's right at the edge of what I'd consider acceptable. Any smaller, and I just wouldn't feel confident in a real emergency. I'd only ever use it at shallow depths, and even then it'd be strictly as a bailout. But the idea of clipping it off and having it as a clean, lightweight backup, it's interesting. It's not something I'm ready to recommend yet, but I'm running it through real scenarios in my head, and I'm gonna test it out, I think, in about a week whenever I go dive Blue Hole. If I end up testing it in any way, I'll update you in the future video. One last thing I wanna touch on. I actually took one of these little 0.5 liter mini tanks with me on the river as a backup, and I'll be honest, after testing it, I'm second guessing that decision. Even in shallow water, the usable air in these little mini tanks, I just don't think it's a smart backup. You might get 3 to 4, maybe 5 minutes out of these if you were being super conservative on your air, which I don't think you're gonna be if you're having to switch over to your backup. So again, if you dive any of these tanks, have an alternate air source, know your limits, and really weigh your risk before hopping in. And I wanna say this one more time. These tanks are not a shortcut into scuba. They're not a way to bypass training, and they are absolutely not something to hand to your kid and hope for the best. If you're not certified, don't dive these. If your buddy isn't certified, don't let him try one of yours. I know how tempting it is. They look cool, they seem portable, and they open up a lot of new possibilities, but this is still compressed air, still real pressure at depth, and still super real risk. It doesn't take much to get into trouble underwater, and when you're dealing with small tanks and limited time, everything gets tighter. So get certified, get trained, and then use these with extreme caution, because we want you diving, but we want you to come back up safe. Bottom line, these tanks can work. If you're a certified diver, using them in shallow waters with proper upgrades and backup air, but they're not cheap once you factor all that in, and the compressor and the alternate air source, I think you would be well over $1,000, and they're not safe for kids or uncertified divers, period. But that being said, we do use them. Guys, dive smart, dive safe, and don't treat these like toys. Hey, I want to know your experience with mini tanks. Drop it in the comments. We'll check it out. If you have questions, leave them in the comments section too, and I might make a video addressing it. If this video helped, smash that subscribe button, because next up, I'm going to share my thoughts on the Heap 1 mini portable compressor and and the 0.5 liter mini tanks. If you're new to the channel, here's something awesome. We hide real treasure underwater. We call it the hunt. If you find one of our coins, you win actual high-end dive gear from brands that we trust. You can check out those treasure drops and the clues on where to find the coins right here on the channel. The hunt is on. Boy, that was rough.